Jag kände bara, it's been a bit awkward to speak in a microphone when we're not more than 12 or something. Okay, I'm going to talk about what I'm doing and my career in 10 minutes. It says here that I'm the owner of Byggnadsbolaget Tornehem. It's not really correct. I'm owner of one half of the company, and my wife owns the other half. And it's a very small company. It's only me and my wife and one caretaker, or sometimes a colleague of theirs. So three or four people, that's all. Okay. Är det trycka på pilen här då? Tornehem is a developer. That means that what we do is that we try to find some land where you can build something like what we do is housing, apartments. We try to buy the land, and when we've done that, we make plans for the house, and when they're ready, we build it. And mostly we go into real estate managing, that is, we manage our own houses, our own apartments. It's always rental apartments. From time to time, it's also apartments for people who are disabled. We do it in Lund nowadays, only in Lund. We used to be in Malmö as well. I have some pictures on that. Oh. All right, that's me at the age of 6, I think. I have this picture to tell you that it was about the time when it all started for me. Me and my little brother, when we were playing, I always built the things and he played them. And also my grandfathers, they were both in the building industry. My uncles were all engineers, and my older sister, she went to school as well, and so did I. I studied at LTH, which is the Technical University of Lund, which you may know of. It took some time for me to go there. When I was in my lower 20s, it was a lot of basketball and also a lot of girls that took all my time. But when I was 23, I really made it to the school, even though I took 1 year off in the middle for more basketball. And more girls too, I think. To study at a university, that was really great, I think. For the first time, I was allowed to study only things that I thought was fun. So it was a very good time. I like being an engineer. I like techniques, mathematics, and also I'm very fond of doing things with my hands. So it's a good combination. The V stands for Väg och Vatten, which is a building industry section. When I graduated in '83, it was a hard time to find jobs in the building industry. It was really low. I managed to get a job in Karlstad, which is a smaller city, not that small really, but it's halfway through Sweden, in the middle. And the first picture there on the old state house was my first job. I was working with a company called VM, some of you may have heard of, and we were contractors. That is, we get a contract to build something for someone else. And at this special site, it was you see on the left side of the old building, there's a new one. That was what we did. It was a kitchen they run the church in Karlstad run this as a hotel and a conference center. So we built a new kitchen. And as a newly graduated student, this was really tough because the first time out working, or almost the first time out working, I was supposed to handle a lot of this, the site there. but I managed, and that's something that's rather typical about the building industry, is that if you are the right place at the right time and you want to do something, you're often allowed to do something, to take a step forward in your career. This was a huge leap for me, as it was my first job, but it turned out well. A few years later, after this, around 1985, I think, me and my wife, we had our first kid, and we wanted to move back to Lund because of the practical reasons of having fathers and mothers around. So we did that, and I worked with another contractor company called NCC. And the picture is from the office there. We were all working with measuring, cost calculations, planning, and producing new houses. It's all men on the picture, which was very common. Now this is 25 years ago. It's a bit different now, especially if in the offices there's a lot of women. We had one colleague who was a girl, a woman at the time, and she's now the chief executive officer of a rather big company in Malmö. So I would like to say that the building industry used to be very male-dominated, but it's not really anymore. It's a big difference. Now it's some years later. O01 was a fair, housing fair in Malmö, 2001. And at the time, I was a manager of the housing department of NCC in southern Sweden. So I had made quite a normal, quite a good career in this big company. The building industry is really quite huge in various sectors and specializations. You can do a lot, different things. It still has the common that we're all building things, which means that it's quite easy to move from one part of the industry to another. You're quite familiar what everyone is doing. So it's in that way it's a very nice sector to work in. That you can change from one occupation to another without doing everything is different. And a few years after this fair in Malmö, I got the opportunity to start my own company, Tornaren. And one of the first projects that we did was, can you point it to you? This house here, it's I think 35 apartments. The picture is shot from Turning Torso, from the top floor there. And this picture also shows you that all those different houses being built here, like ours, and this one, and this one, and this one, they're all individual sites with one manager and co-managers and workers. And they live in you can say in a small community, in a team, very much. And still, a site like this with so many different projects, it has to be cooperated. You have to talk to each other. Logistics problem will appear. And also, each of these sites is quite in a way, quite like a small company. So the industry is very much decentralized. So a site manager in a building project like this has a lot of possibilities. And this goes through the whole industry and also out to the craftsmen and the workers. They're supposed to take a lot of initiatives of their own. And you get a lot of freedom and you get a lot of responsibility. This is one a new project that we are planning to do, and I have this picture here, not only to tell you that, but also to tell you that before you start building a house, it's built in a imaginary way. You have a lot of drawing sketches, you have measurements, calculations. Everything is on papers and people's head before you go out to the site and start digging and start building with concrete and whatever. So there's a lot of, it's a big process with a lot of people involved and a lot of cooperation. And the building industry as a whole is very hot in Sweden at the moment and will be for many years, I think. There's a big need of more apartments, and there's a big need of more workspace too. This picture is from the northern part of Lund. I can show you again. You see the ring up there somewhere? That's Max 4 lab, which is now due to start in just a few weeks, I think. A huge investment for the region and for Sweden. And a bit further up on the picture is the ESS, the spaltation source site, which is I think 20 billion Swedish kronas. It's really big. And around this there will be a lot of apartments and a lot of office buildings. There's really need of people who want to be a part of building this, a big need. And the thing is that this is not the only site in Lund, and there are a lot of similar places in Malmö, Helsingborg, all over Sweden, I would say. So there will be a big, good market for people who want to work with in the industry. I was asked to give you my job tips, and I think everyone tells you that you need to learn the language, and it cannot be said one time too many, I think. It's very important. And Marcus knows that. And also I would say education, even though you don't have to go to the university, you really need in Sweden to have some sort of education. And I would say that for a craftsman or woman, it will take you 2 years in school, and also for a machine operator. And if you go to engineer school or be an architect, it will take you 3 to 5 years. And another tip is that if you have the possibility, try to find yourself a good network, and also if there's someone who wants to take care of you, find yourself a mentor. That's a very good way to get into the Swedish society. So my final tip is that you should join EOS basketball. And this is because if you look at the picture with the basketball players, there's only one of them who is Swedish. Kofi, the number 40, Denios, he's from Togo. And Abdo, at number 11, he's from Tunisia. The guy in number 4 is from Australia. And number 6 over there in blue, I think he's from Vietnam. So it's very, it's not very, I would say there's not an ice hockey player here, I hope, but ice hockey and tennis, they're very Swedish. Basketball is very international. And EOS, we run Language Cafe, and the other 2 pictures are from the Language Cafe. That's a place you can just pop up on Saturdays at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. And if you look careful on the picture on the left, there's a guy with his thumb up, and that is Marcus. And now he will take over. That's a smooth way to